Now, I'm showing you how this goes with lifelong love affair. I'm starting with the controversial part of this subject that I'm about to get into. But if I don't give no foundation, you may crucify me and hang up the Zoom before I finish. He was the father. As the father, he's the foundation. As the foundation, he's holding everything up. See, we talk about man is the head. Well, practically speaking, he's the bottom because he should be the cornerstone that holds the entire family in place. And everything has been destroyed since Satan removed the cornerstone of the true father and husband being in his rightful place as God ordained him to be. Everything else is the ripple effect of that problem. That's why the last prophet God spoke to before he shut his mouth for 400 years was Malachi, saying, the last verse of the Old Testament, he shall return the hearts of the father to the children and turn the hearts of the children back to the father. Last thing that was spoken. When John the Baptist comes on the scene in Matthew, it's revealed that he came in the spirit of Elijah to turn the hearts of the father back to the children and the hearts of the children back to the father. So what this got to do with marriage? Everything. Stay with me. So now when you deal with this father being in position, as a father, he's choosing to be a sustainer, to be the source, to be the keeper. That's spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. When God created Adam, and when it came to the relationship, Adam as this father, think about what I'm about to say. He says, for this cause shall man leave father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife. Now he's talking about the establishment of godly kingdom citizenship marriage. And he says, the man, the husband, leave father and mother, cleaving to his wife. Watch this. He never talks about the wife leaving her father, simply because she never leaves the place of having a father. She simply replaces him. When my daughter got married, the preacher asked the question, who gives this bride away in marriage? And I, as her father, said, I do. And I took my daughter, who was latched to me. I walked her up to this man standing at the altar. I took her hand and I put her hand in his hand. I transferred my fatherhood to her husband. So what I used to be to her, I need y'all to hear this. Stay with me. What you mean what I used to be to her? Her source, her sustainer, her protector, her covering, her support. I transferred that over to him. So she never went without a source, without a sustainer, without a protector, without a support. I'm talking spiritually. We're not on no ancestral stuff. Spiritually, he became her father. Listen to me. Listen to me. Because if a man views his wife and himself, godly speaking, as a responsible father, it changes how delicate he is with her. His sensitivity should grow with her. His care and concern should grow with her. His willingness to provide all of her needs should increase. Oh my God, the way he cares for her when she's not feeling well, the way he cares for her. See, this revolutionized me as a husband when God gave me this revelation of the fatherhood principle in marriage. I became more patient with my wife when I saw myself as the father. I became more understanding. I became less judgmental and less critical when I understood this responsibility. And I get it, ladies. We quick to say, he ain't my daddy, but listen to me, just stay with me. The most affectionate term oftentimes a man will have for his woman when they really have their relationship, he calls her baby. Baby, would you pass me that? Sugar, could I have that? Baby. What? He calls her baby out of a term of affection and caring concern of that relationship. And let me qualify what I'm getting ready to say. And maybe on their honeymoon night or somewhere within the confinements of their marriage, in a heat sexual intimate exchange, when it really got good to him, that woman of his might just look up in his face and she might call him daddy. Because ultimately, this principle, the spiritual principle of this, is how that nourishment and that loving relationship should take place. He should love her as Christ loved the church, and she should honor and respect him in that same manner of respect and honor. And this is what it calls for. So now I want to take this time, I want to deal with 4 laws, and I'm just see how far I'm gonna get because I don't know how when I run out. If you're married or you're ever desiring to be, this is critically important for you to know for the rest of your life if you want to have better results. Now, God is the manufacturer of marriage. He laid out the instruction manual and the steps of what it takes to have a lifelong, godly love affair. God set everything up to operate on laws and principles. And if you operate the laws of God, you'll receive the results that God ordained. If you break those laws, you're going to deal with the consequences of breaking those laws. Here are God's 4 foundational laws of marriage, and he gave them all in his first marriage ceremony between Adam and Eve. Let's go to it. Genesis 2:24. Listen to God's marriage ceremony. Therefore, shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife. They shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Here they are. Number 1, leave father and mother. The first law is this: marriage only works when you operate in this first law. Number 1, it's the law of priority. Marriage only works in first place. Your marital relationship comes second only to your relationship with God himself. Nothing else should supersede the relationship between husband and a wife, biblically speaking. Now, I'm finna lose some people on this one, but if you stay with me, I'll help you understand what I'm about to say. The marriage relationship even supersedes your parenting relationship. your spouse even takes priority to your children. Now, I know this is a hard one because most of us have blended families, you know, unfortunately. I know I had a blended family, still have a blended family. And this is hard. Let me explain it. Parenting is a temporary assignment. As a parent, I'm raising my children to leave. Real talk. As a parent, my job is to parent myself out of a job. My objective as a parent is to raise my children to live without me. That's really my job. If my child still needs me at 40, in the same way they needed me when they was 14, I failed. I did something wrong. I mean, of course, that's given that there's not some, handicap or actual reason why they need to be as dependent. But the point I'm making is this: without putting your marriage as a priority, how will your children ever learn how to do marriage? Because marriage is first taught in the homes. And so oftentimes we have bad point of references. And I'm not talking about neglecting your children for your spouse, because if you're marrying the right spouse, they would never actually neglect your children. It's about understanding this relationship between husband and wife. God meant it not to ever stop. It's supposed to continue to death do us part. Me having to parent and raise my children supposed to come to an end one day. They'll always be my children, but at some point they're going to become what I used to have to be to them. They're going to start their own families. They're going to create their own careers. They ultimately become like your friends, even though they're still your children, but the dynamics of that relationship change. You ain't telling them what to do the rest of your life, but the marriage relationship never ends. That role never changes. So marriage only works in first place. Nothing, no other relationship should come before your marriage. Your relationship with God, then the relationship with your spouse. This is God's law. Not your father, not your mother, not your family, not your friends. It's first. Now, that doesn't mean it's the only relationship in your life. We need to understand that. And I think it's important that men and women understand one another's need for life experiences, for outlets, for things of that nature. That's a whole nother conversation. But marriage comes first. It only works in first place. What's the second thing? And shall cleave to his wife. Cleave. Number two, it's the law of pursuit. The law of pursuit. We work real hard to get folk. Oh, we work hard to get them. We wine and we dine them and we say lovely things and we take them out on great dates and we cater to their needs and we cook for them and we run their bath water and we lay out rose petals and we bring flowers and we spend quality time and then we get them. We are like, mission accomplished. That's over. What's next? No. The law of pursuit continues long beyond that. The law of pursuit never ceases. It has to do with continuing, pursuing them with all of your energy, with all working at it, never taking them for granted, still discovering what makes them tick. See, the hard thing about long life relationships is that you're with someone else who's still becoming who they're going to be. Oftentimes we think, I know them. I argue to say you don't know them, you knew them. Because if you're basing how you know them on who they were, you may be living with a stranger now because you've not been a part of their evolution. Here, I brought your favorite flowers. I ain't like them flowers in 10 years. What are you talking about? Because cleaving, the law of pursuit, has to do with still getting to know them, still learning what makes them tick, still exploring them. And if you accept this challenge, the marriage can never go dull because you're constantly learning newer things, exploring them, what turns them on, what puts them in the mood, what's their favorite color now, what they like to eat now, what are the shows? It's constantly being an active participant in one another's development. It's exciting. It never grows old if you stay attentive to it. The law of pursuit. I got more. Let me speed up. Then he says, and the two shall be one flesh. What is that? It's the law of possession. Number three is the law of possession. There's no more yours and mine. It's us and ours. We become one, but we're one in two different bodies. It doesn't matter what you had before we met. It's ours now. We're one. Everything I do affects you. Everything you do affects me. Let me make this plain. Let me give this example. Watch this. Watch this. Okay, let's say if two people own one car. Say you own one car, one vehicle, and you have to share that vehicle amongst the two of you. If you don't communicate properly and regularly and create schedules and create a plan, you will fight every day over that one car. Because you getting up, where you going? Oh, me and the girls going out. No, but I'm finna go pick up June and we going to the park to hoop. But no, me and the girl, I'm finna use the car. You would fight nonstop because of the complication of sharing one vehicle. It would require a lot of communication, a lot of mutual understanding, a lot of scheduling, and all of that. In marriage, you're not just sharing one vehicle, you're sharing one life together. Two people are sharing one life. Now, if we're not communicating and operating and being on the same page with mutual respect and understanding, we're going to have a lot of problems. It's the law of possession. We're sharing one life. We share money, we share children, we share property. God created us equal, but we're created different. And we've got to work through that. The law of possession. And lastly, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. The last one is the law of purity. Naked and not ashamed. Nothing hidden, completely transparent. You know all of me and I know all of you. And I still love you and you still love me. It is the most greatest experience in the world to really operate in the law of purity, of being naked and unashamed. And I'm talking about naked emotionally, naked spiritually, naked mentally. To be in a place with another one where you don't have to hold up your guards, where you're safe to be you. Oh, it's so important. Notice when they covered up their nakedness after they sinned. When it comes to nakedness, we hide our genitals. Let me be very honest and open and transparent because I want you to get the point. What makes us not naked is that we cover our genitals, our private parts. Why is that important? Because when you look at man and woman, those are the parts of us that's different. We're different in our private parts. So what I'm talking about with not being naked, because most of us hide our different parts. We're not 100% transparent and open in those areas where I don't think you're going to understand this because I'm different from you in this place. We have different points of views in this, so I'm gonna tuck that up. I can't talk to you about this because you're different from me about on that issue. And we're not naked and unashamed. We're not at a place of safety. Because when you're not safe with the person you vowed to spend the rest of your life with, where are you safe? What are we doing? And I get that doesn't come easy, but that's a necessary effort and a challenge to accept to have a real loving marriage. Well, I don't want them to know this about me because if they know that, they might not look at me the same. They might see me differently. Well, you're not naked. You're not operating in the law of purity, and you're giving Satan something he can always use against you in the future because you're not trusting your spouse with all of you. I shouldn't marry someone I can't trust with me. Forever is a long time to hide something. These are the four laws. Again, the law of priority. Again, the law of pursuit, the law of possession, and the law of purity. And God gave those. So God knows when Satan can get us to violate those, he can come in and mess up the marriage. And one other great thing I need to cover before we conclude, because Satan is such a strategy. I want to talk about four of the greatest needs that all humans have: the need for acceptance, the need for identity, the need for security, and the need for purpose. Acceptance, identity, security, and purpose. The problem comes when we rely on other people to fulfill those needs in our life. Because the person you're relying on to fulfill them, your significant other, they have those same four needs. They have the need of acceptance, identity, security, and purpose. So what do? We go to God to fulfill those needs. Because if I allow God to fulfill those needs in me, because only God fully accepts all of me, all of my junk, all of my past, all of my, without no reservations, no shame, no guilt. So when I feel accepted in God, I'm able to be vulnerable and transparent with you. No one can really open up to another human being when they haven't received full acceptance from God yet, because they're not secure in themselves. When I get my identity from God and I know who I am from him, I'm able to deal with another human being, because I'm not allowing your lack of validation to make me question my identity, because I've already gotten it from God. When I get to the point where I've received my purpose from him, I know why he created me and what my life is about, then it's not affected from someone else's ignorance of it. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm not easily led astray into the wrong direction because I didn't know my direction. And lastly, when I get my security from God, because only God is the one that can fully give me security, that can fully promise me that he'll be with me to the end of time, that he'll never leave me nor forsake me, that he's not ever going anywhere, that I'm secure in him, that he can protect me, he can keep me, he can bless me, he can hold me, he can heal me, he can deliver me, he can cover every base. Then I can operate with another, because I know I'm secure in God first and foremost. So God got us. Ooh. Greatest needs. Every woman, listen to me, man, she needs love and affection. She doesn't just want it, she needs it. It's an inherent need. She needs to feel love in the form of affection from you. She needs it. But ladies, the greatest need of every man is not love in the way that you need it. The greatest need of every man is to feel respected. He doesn't want it. He needs to feel respected by you, to know that you admire him, you look up to him, you honor him. That's what gets his motor running. And when you study Ephesians 5 and it breaks down submitting to one another and as unto the Lord, and he's talking about wives, submit unto your husbands as unto the Lord. Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. If you break it down in layman's terms, he's talking about love and respect. No matter what you go through in your marriage, if you don't fail to love your wife the way Christ loved the church, and wife, if you don't fail to honor and respect your husband the way God commanded you to, I promise you, you'll survive any storm that comes your way. Don't break those laws, and don't neglect love and respect, and you will be more than the conqueror through Christ Jesus. I am so not out of word. I got pages I ain't turned yet, but unfortunately, I am out of time.